Hi everyone, this is Tushar. I'm a third year undergrad from Aerospace Engineering Department at IIT Kanpur, and I've been invited by the counseling service to be a part of the InternGyan session in 2020. So I'll be sharing some insights based on my experience with the internship process, and also I'll be sharing some tips based on my experience so far. So, just to give you a brief information about my background, I am one of the co-founders of the IIT Kanpur Consulting Group. I'm sure some of you might have heard about its projects and the work we do. I'm also one of the founding members of the IIT Kanpur chapter of Share Consulting. So, let's get started. Thank you. So, talking about the company and my profile, so I have received an offer from Mastercard, and the profile I had applied for is called Software Quality Engineering. So the profile is a bit different from the conventional software engineering profiles that most of you might have heard about. It lies somewhere in between of a product management profile and a software engineering profile. So under this profile, basically you're required to know the end-to-end pipeline of a software project that Mastercard does. So under this profile, you're required to know what a data scientist does and what are the tasks under the data engineering team. You're required to know what software engineers do and what are the tasks which are assigned in the software development team. You're also required to understand what are the client's requirements and how through the project we are able to meet them. And finally, the final product that we'll be submitting to the client, you need to ensure that as per the quality, as per the requirements, everything is correct, because you are actually the last barrier between the product that is created by the team and the product that is delivered to the client. So you have the entire responsibility to ensure that the product is as per the requirements, as per the needs of the client, and it meets the standards and the quality standards that Mastercard has set so far for all its products and the relationships it has built with the clients. So that is something which the profile encapsulates, and this is something which really interested me because I did not want to go for a completely software engineering profile where I was just writing code 9 to 5. So this was the closest profile that I could get, which was close to a product management profile and also did not involve a lot of coding. So that is a brief introduction about the profile and the skills required for this role. Let's move to the next section. So as far as preparation for this profile goes, so there isn't any website or any resource that you can refer to. It's purely dependent on how well you're able to think on the spot, how well you're able to answer the questions on the spot. As far as requirements are concerned, so one thing is that since it's a software profile and you're required to at least have a basic idea of how different softwares and different technical products that we use work. For example, you are required to know how a basic website works, how apps like Skype or Zoom, how do they work, how does a simple Android app works. So basically, have some a rudimentary idea of how these different aspects work, because these might be asked you during the interview process, and they won't actually require you to do any coding. So thorough knowledge of competitive programming, DS, etc. is not at all required, and neither it is asked in any of the tests. If I remember the process correctly, so the first round is a written round where they give you two questions and you just need to kind of detail how you would solve that problem. You're not required to write any code or you're not required to do any complex mathematical calculations. You just given a real life problem and you need to walk them through and write in detail of how you would solve the problem if you were the product manager, if you were the software quality engineer who was working on that issue. So if I remember correctly, there were two questions asked. So one question was some mathematical calculation operation, and we had to detail or provide a detailed analysis of how we would carry out that operation. We just need to I just need to mention, okay, these are the operations which need to be carried on, and this is how we'll arrive at the final answer. And you don't actually need to perform those calculations or write any code to do those. Just walk them through, okay, these are the steps I would take and this is how I would work with my team, and that should be sufficient. The second question which was asked was that you have a team, you're working on a team, and you recently rolled out a new feature for a video conferencing app, and the feature is not received well by the clients. A lot of users are facing some issues. So you just need to write on how you would solve that issue, how you would, understand what's the problem and arrive at a solution. So that was the written round. And then there were 3 rounds of interviews. So the first round of the interview, they asked me a simple case study. It was kind of an abstract case study about a coffee machine an automated coffee machine in an office, and how you would ensure that the coffee machine would. What are the basic features that the coffee machine should have, and how will it work? It was a very abstract problem. There is nothing you can actually do to prepare in advance for it. It's just how well you're able to come up with a solution on the spot, and how well you're able to communicate that solution to the interviewer. The second round was a case study about Uber's app, and again, it required me to detail the features of the application, how it works, and some basic questions about its working. So again, if you have a basic idea about how an application works, if you've used Uber's app, and if you have a basic idea of how to structure a problem, they also look into how well you're able to structure the problem instead of just directly coming at the solution, then you would be good to go. And obviously, if you have good communication skills, you're able to elucidate the answer properly, you're able to walk the interviewer through all the steps properly, and he's able to understand that, it definitely works in your favor and you'll move to the next round. So as far as preparation is concerned, there isn't any website or any course that you can do that will help you for this particular profile. It's just that try to familiarize yourselves with these basic concepts. How does an app work? How does a website work? How do some common applications that we use in day-to-day life work? And also, work a bit on your communication skills, and you would be good to go. So I have been given some questions which I believe some of the students have asked, and I'm supposed to answer them. So there were only 2 questions which I found which were applicable to my profile. So I'll just directly jump to those questions. So the first question was, how can non-CSE students prepare for this role, and the selection criteria for non-CSE roles. So as I mentioned before, I am from the aerospace department, and this was a software engineering role. Not exactly a software engineering role, but it required you to have knowledge of software engineering. So I think I'm a perfect candidate to answer this question. So as far as MasterCard is concerned, they did not have any branch requirements for applying to any of the roles. Irrespective of your branch, you could apply. And based on your resume, they shortlisted some students for the online test. So I think if you have a decent CPI and you have done some kind of projects related to software engineering, or some coding experience, or even some product management experience, some technical project experience that you feel would be relevant to the work, then I think you're good to go and you would be shortlisted for the first test. And after you're shortlisted, it all depends on how well you perform in the initial screening test and how well you perform in the interview rounds. So I don't think branch restriction really makes any difference. And as a case in point, I think I can give my own example, since I'm from the aerospace department, and a lot of other students who were shortlisted by MasterCard also did not belong to the CSE department. The next question was that during the course of the internship, what was the tasks? What were the tasks of an intern? So from my personal experience, one major task was to basically draft the test plans. Basically, we have different features in our product. So how you would test those features, how would you make sure that the requirements which have been listed by the clients are being met during the course of the project. So the most important part that you have to work on is basically a project plan, on first writing clearly what are the requirements of the clients and how through this project you're able to meet those requirements. This also includes thinking of different features which you think could be useful for the client. So thinking of those features is a very critical part of this process. So you would be working with the software engineers, you would be working with the product managers to understand what all features can be incorporated and what all features are necessary, keeping in mind the client's requirements. Another major part of the project is testing. Since once the project is completed, you need to test different aspects of the project to see that they meet the quality standards and there are no errors, so that once you ship the project to the client, he does not face any such issues. Those issues have been taken care of. If there are any assumptions in the calculations, that those assumptions have been vetted by you and they have been clearly communicated to the client so that he knows those limitations before making a key business decision. So testing it on testing also means automated testing, so you need to write some code to basically automate the entire testing process. So if at any point in time, let's say right now you've done the test, but 2 3 weeks down the line or a month down the line there is some issue due to some update, then that issue is immediately reported by the software. So you're supposed to write automated tests, and that is something which I found really interesting, and that is something which we can actually use in our day-to-day projects as well, not just for the company's projects. So these were the main tasks of an intern during in this profile. So the last aspect of this talk is the work experience. Since most of my internship is already complete, Mastercard has had reduced the initial 2 month internship to a 1 month internship, so that in case we have any classes or any other commitments, we can take care of that. So, so I think it's been a great experience so far. I really liked how meticulously Mastercard had planned the entire internship process. Right on day one, we had the entire calendar with each day's schedule already planned before. We knew at what date, at what exact time we will have which session. Also, from the project's point of view, we already had all the deadlines and all the milestones clearly communicated to us, all the meetings that we'll be having. And I also liked how Mastercard has this commitment to punctuality. So all the meetings and all the sessions took place at the exact time, which was pre-decided. So this is something which I really liked, the punctual and serious nature of the company. And I think overall they have a very open culture. We could easily reach out to the senior management. Every day we had one-on-one sessions with our mentors to see if we had any issues, if we're doing fine, if we were not, if we had any issues related to personal or professional work that was hampering up productivity. So we could always share them during the one-on-one sessions. We also had weekly or bi-weekly sessions with the senior vice presidents to who would advise us on the project progress that we've made so far, and any career related advice that we might have, we could easily openly share that with them. So interestingly, since Mastercard has an Indian global CEO, if some of you did not know, so as a result, the Indian offices, they have a very close relationship with the US offices of Mastercard. So we regularly had team sessions with the US counterparts in the Arlington office of Mastercard. We also got an opportunity to have one-on-one sessions with the senior leadership in our profile as well as in other profiles in the US office. So that was something which was really interesting, and it also gave us a good idea of what the career trajectory in this profile at Mastercard looks like. In the last week, we were also very lucky to have an actual session with the global CEO of the company. It was a very interactive session, and we could ask any questions that we had regarding the internship or regarding Mastercard in general. That is something which I really liked about Mastercard, I think, and that is something which separates Mastercard from most of the other companies in how open the culture is and how easily we can reach out to anyone in the company, including the global CEO. And if you talk about the future prospects, especially for this profile, so since software quality engineers are required to know the entire pipeline, they are required to know the overall project, they have the overall picture of how the project is going, how the data engineers are working, how the software development engineers are working. So it is actually the software quality engineers who go on to take leadership roles, and they get promoted to be team leads in a lot of cases. So from a career progression point of view, this is a very good profile because you clear cut know, okay, this is one profile where I can target to become a team lead and then rise to further senior positions. So from a software quality engineering point of view, you have a good career trajectory ahead. And even Mastercard has this as a very important feature where you can easily switch to another profile as well. Let's say you work as a software quality engineer and you realize that you want to explore the software development engineer profile, or you want to experience the work of a product manager. So that shifting between the company is between roles in the same company is not very difficult, and Mastercard enables you to do that. So that is something which I really liked, and that is something which really appeals to me from for this company. And overall, I think I had a fantastic experience. They tried to make sure that the entire internship experience was wholesome, all the different aspects were taken care of. So I think it was a wonderful experience. And yeah, thank you so much for your time, and thank you, Counseling Service, for giving me this chance to share my experience so far. And I hope this session was helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via email or messenger. Thank you and God bless.